Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, I put this little piece of article up here just to show you that a lot of companies and a lot of people is kind of done with the pride thing. I feel like there's been a real toning down of it. I'm not even seeing a lot of stuff that I usually see in the last 4 years. But I'm gonna just roll these clips and we just gonna dive right into it. Thanks.
Cancelled, but what does that mean for the rest of the country wanting to celebrate Pride this month? Well, London Pride is still set to go forth at the beginning of July, but still cancelling Liverpool Pride in Pride Month, might I add, still seems like a massive step backwards for a lot of people. Now, the reason why Liverpool Pride was apparently cancelled this year is because organisers apparently couldn't find a headline sponsor, directly causing them to have to scale back on certain key funding. But still, many are accusing this of being a cop-out, saying that they would have been more than satisfied with the overall parade being less flashy, just so long as people could still come together to celebrate the history, culture, and resistance of Pride. You see, Pride feels like a lifeline for many, with its loss feeling like a direct rejection, with fewer public events meaning less safe spaces for LGBTQ individuals. And we're still cancelling events like this only send a key message that LGBTQ individuals are just not a priority anymore. Or maybe they just weren't ever to begin with. And so to you might not think this is a big deal. I mean, there's always next year, right? Wrong. We do not know if there's going to be a next year or how this is going to affect the future of Pride altogether in this country. As investors lose interest since Pride is no longer trendy, we genuinely do not know.
Canceled or relocated as the institution pivots under President Trump's leadership. The events were part of the World Pride Festival, which is held every 2 years in Washington to celebrate LGBTQ rights. Kennedy Center events were billed as the tapestry of Pride and were scheduled to run through the last 4 days of the festival. However, multiple artists and producers involved say events have been quietly canceled or moved to other venues. Following the cancellations, Washington's Capital Pride Alliance disassociated itself from the Kennedy Center. Its deputy director told the Associated Press, quote, "We are finding another path to celebration, but the fact that we have to maneuver in this way is disappointing." Associated Press reporter Ashraf Khalil has been following the story and he joins us now. Ashraf, thanks for being here. What are some of the events that were canceled and what are artists and organizers telling you?
Well, some of when the cancellations happened, some of the plans were still coming together. So I spoke with one organizer who sort of knew that she was going to have a day, but was figuring out what she was going to do to fill that day. One thing that was definitely canceled was a performance by the International Pride Orchestra, which was going to perform on June 5th. They were deep into contract negotiations. They knew what theater they were going to be playing at the Kennedy Center. And all of that stopped starting February 7th, which is when President Trump put out on Truth Social a statement about the Kennedy Center and about how he planned to make large changes at the Kennedy Center, specifically mentioning drag shows as something that would no longer be allowed. So the International Pride Orchestra, they definitely had all communication stop, and then several days later, February 12th, informed that the contract would not be offered, that the Kennedy Center would not be working with them. So that's a definite cancellation from the part of the Kennedy Center. The Capital Pride Alliance, in the wake of some of these cancellations, then sort of pulled out completely. But this started with cancellations from the Kennedy Center end.
These are only the latest cancellations and changes we're seeing at the Kennedy Center. Several artists or shows have either chosen to cancel or relocate since the president basically put himself as chair and changed out a lot of the board members, most recently a tour of Hamilton. Is this hurting the institution?
It's definitely affecting the reputation of the institution within the artistic community. And I think this particular issue may prove to be quite damaging because the previous cancellations that have happened have either been artists pulling out or there was a case that got a lot of media attention where the gay men's chorus was supposed to perform at the Kennedy Center and that fell apart. But I've spoken to Kennedy Center staffers off the record who have no love for the current administration, who swear that the gay men's chorus thing was innocent, that it really was just a scheduling thing.
Pride pushed aside this year by many companies, with corporate sponsors signaling reserve. Pride organizers dismayed.
The corporate model no longer is sustainable in the political climate that we live in today.
That's in St. Louis, seeing major changes this year. While in New York, NYC Pride saying it's dealing with a budget shortfall of more than $750,000 due to dips in corporate sponsorships. A new survey of more than 200 executives by a risk management research firm shows nearly 40% plan to pull back on how they engage with Pride this year. Why? More than 60% say they fear backlash from the Trump administration and its actions against diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts by companies.
Our country will be woke no longer.
Some also fear falling prey to conservative activists and customers, becoming the next Bud Light. The company getting slammed after its 2023 partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney.
A can with my face on it.
It led to boycotts from figures like Kid Rock,
Bud Light,
sending sales and shares plummeting in the months that followed. The beer's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, not sponsoring Pride St. Louis after a 30-year partnership. The company not returning our request for comment. Our team learning the pullback contributed to a $150,000 deficit for the organization's budget, though individual donors made up for that. The event also implementing a suggested donation of $10 to enter for the first time in its 45-year history.
This process has taught me that this community is resilient and we will find ways to be successful.
And the backlash now going both ways. Take Target, the big box retailer formerly famous for its Pride collection, undergoing its own boycott now too.
Well, Target, we still don't need you.
After rolling back its DEI goals. The company saying the backlash is taking a toll along with tariff uncertainty, causing it to miss first quarter sales estimates. We asked Target about its Pride plans, the company telling us it's absolutely dedicated to fostering inclusivity for everyone, adding it's offering an assortment of celebratory products in about half of stores, similar to last year, and sponsoring local events. But the cultural shift going beyond just Pride. You see here the 14-point drop from Republicans in just 4 years in supporting same-sex marriage, the lowest level of acceptance for the party since 2016, when then candidate Trump said this after the Pulse nightclub shooting.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology.
But with corporate money drying up, security is on the minds of Pride organizers.
Do you have more concerns about safety and security this year?
Absolutely.
The National Pride Network that connects groups around the country telling us there are fewer and smaller events because less money means less safety, security, and accessibility.
And Stephen Romo is joining us now. Okay, Stephen, there's this term pinkwashing that, you know, a lot of the social media posts, et cetera, is more superficial rather than actually helpful. But there are some concerns from Pride organizations about what that could mean moving forward.
Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does this mean? Well, maybe that Pride wasn't really meant for the people that it was really meant for, and it was just a lot of people abusing it. And that's why people are just falling back on it right now. Nobody wants to get involved, and a lot of people are just trying to enjoy, you know, welcoming summer. And so that's just my thoughts on it. I wrote some clips for you guys. It's missed me giving you the news, but honestly, it's a good that it was a rollback. It's good to have some type of just happiness. It's not being politicized. It's just people, whoever does it, whoever wants to celebrate it, they could just do that. And it's not so much as it being forced. And I feel like we need to get back to that. Let people make their own decision and don't let corporations try to tell us what we like. Because honestly, their opinions and their motives shift, and they'll do anything to make money. They don't give a fuck about us. All right, that's my take on it. Thanks, guys.